Skibbity bop bow, skibbity bop boo, zibbity bop zam. Hey everybody, welcome back to Karandrin Role Playing. My name is Kevin Manus Pennings, also known as Cracked Palantir, and I will be your host and game master for this episode 127 of Brise's Tale. As always, my good buddy Max is here to play the beautiful and talented Paladin Brise. Max, say hello to the lovely people.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful night.
We are going to dive pretty quickly into this. Last stream ended very tensely. I'm going to give a very quick recap, and we're going to dive into it. So hang on to your hats, because that's just the way it's going to be. So we have Brise in an area called the Vetch, which is just a large, uninhabited, rugged region north of the city of Convergence. The Philistine, a now extinct halfling folk who are basically have risen as a race of undead now, having been slaughtered several thousand years ago, have decided to take arms and seize a portion of the Vetch. There really is no force to stop them, but Brise has taken it upon herself to ask the help of Fraudrum and Doshrik, two sorcerers, to see if they can save as many inhabitants of the Vetch as they can. It has not gone great, and they've already seen the havoc that the Philistine have waged. So the trio, Doshrik, sort of a bird humanoid from another world, his master Fraudrum, a dark dwarf sorceress. They have visited one of these tiny human settlements in this largely uninhabited region. Were you able to save any? I don't think so. You weren't able.
We mean at the first one or where we are
first
now?
One.
No, first one. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was madness.
Yeah, it was just too far gone. They have now teleported to a second location after fighting off some of the Philistines, who are very powerful and also have a fairly good sense of magic, in the sense that they feel you cast a spell.
Yeah.
The situation is that Doshrik has put up a massive illusion of a large thicket right beside the second of the tiny walled settlements. Our trio is bringing survivors and refugees into the thicket and begging them to be quiet. Doshrik and Brise have just returned with some settlers, and they are waiting for Fraudrum, who is the more powerful of the three. Fraudrum has entered the settlement itself, hoping to be able to save some. The Philistine fly. They are very fast. We have seen them snap trees and throw them from a great distance, even not even using their hands. They are spectral undead. Some of their garments are still tattered and still in our world. It's just sort of a mix. Like I said, they're slender, halfling-looking people that no longer exist. So, if I missed anything, Max, do you think that's...
Well, all I'll say is that we left off, Doshrik and I had rescued a couple children,
right,
and whose mom had just recently passed, and is possibly becoming undead. It was a very morbid sight. But we've rescued them, brought them back to the illusory kind of thicket we're hiding out in, and
right,
missing. That's where we left off on.
Right.
Look at Doshrik and say, do you know where she is? Can you detect her? Or
he glances up to the sky and tells you to stand guard, calming the people.
Right.
He mutters a spell and says, "I detect a single dark dwarf inside the settlement."
Okay.
There are no signs of like battle, particularly the signs of sounds of battle from inside the settlement have not changed.
Right.
Nor has the Philistine flying overhead. Their attention hasn't suddenly focused on one area. The settlers, the humans and dwarves you've rescued are, for the most part, they're clamping their children's mouth shut whenever a Philistine flies overhead. There's just whimpering and crying, but no one's crying out. You and Doshrik look at each other while you keep glancing at the skies and at the perimeter. What do you want to do?
I mean, I say to Doshrik, you probably know her better. Do you think she's good on her own? I think I should stay here and watch all the people. But if she needs help, I think you should go after her. Plus, you can disguise yourself better than I can from the Philistine.
How many of these people do you think you could take with you if you were to have to leave?
I mean, that's a hard question to answer. I would just say,
probably 4 or 5, more if they were children.
Right. I couldn't usher them. You mean take with me like down the mountain or like?
No, she means magically take with you.
Okay. Yeah. Teleport. Yeah. I say 4 or 5, maybe more if they were children.
You guys have what, about 9 in here now? I think.
Let's see.
I knew you guys have
saved 6, I believe.
I think it was going to be 6 and you lost 1, the mother.
Well, no, so we teleport to the other village. There were already some there, some unspecified number.
Okay.
And then there were 6 more we detected. I found the man and the woman, right? The husband and wife.
That's right.
And then the children, 4 more. So 10, 20, maybe around 20.
How many times could you teleport? He asks.
Let's see. I could do 1, 2. I say I could do 3 trips there and back, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't. Let me rephrase that because my exhaustion would be like at 0 if I did that. So let me see. I could do 2 trips there and back, like knowing my 3 if I really had to push it.
Right. I mean, you would have to rest.
Right.
And you're going to have to rest away from this cacophony.
Right.
There's no way with this level of danger and so on that you would be able to marshal yourself enough to actually rest. But that would be, that's minutes of rest that you would have to take.
Yeah.
And
many potions to restore exhaustion.
If there's ever a time for that, it's now.
Mm-hmm. I don't have any though. I would need.
No, you don't have any. I see. Where would you take them? They will not be welcome at the keep unexplained.
They will not be welcome at the keep. Outside Convergence, I know I could teleport there. Or in Balabri. I don't know. I guess
he grabs you and shakes you and says, "You've got to think. They'll need coin wherever they go.
Exactly. That's what I'm like. Oh my God.
He
Okay.
goes, think and watch the skies. He reaches in, pulls out a handful of silver, and goes. And he just hands out silver to every person, man, woman, or child.
Okay.
Hands out a silver because that's going to keep them for a week.
Yeah.
In an inn.
It's just hitting me that we're not only keeping these people safe, but we're actually relocating them from their homes. So I'm like, wait a second. Okay.
I mean, it really is a refugee movement.
Yeah.
That you've got going on here, and you see that. I mean, it's interesting the contemporary issues.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, does Brise have a memory of? Is there any place in Ballabry that has like like land that are like they were going to set up any type of land or homesteads that I could like take them that I have knowledge of?
They will need shelter before that.
Well, right.
You'll
but
have
I can
to
take them to Ballabry.
You'll have to just leave it to their own devices
to
find. With the silver they have, they would at least be able to get an inn and rest and make their own plans.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Let me just check my teleportation spot so I can see what I can remember. Yeah. Okay. I tell them I'll take them onto the mountain that the keep is on and point them towards the town.
He nods.
That way it won't be super suspicious if we all appear at an inn, the same exact inn. So,
well, I mean, they can raise suspicions. That's hardly your.
I know. Yeah,
I mean, if you can put them in town, that's going to be better. You have children here.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can put them in town somewhere where at least they can't be seen immediately.
Yeah. I mean, do I think of a spot in town like that? If I can think of, if I remember any like specific alleys. I know I haven't memorized any spots inside town. That's the thing.
Then roll.
Yeah. See if I remember a spot in town that's discreet. 43.
No. No, nothing comes to mind. There's just so much going on.
Yeah.
A Philistine flows overhead and shriek, and one of the children shrieks.
Ooh.
It passes overhead unnoticed, but you and Doshrik are both just up. You are just up and ready.
Yeah.
Remind me of your state of readiness. What do you want in your hands?
I would have my bola of burdening and my target shield of sluggishness. I tell Doshrik I'm gonna start teleporting some of these children and the families at least, because there's too much of a risk here if all of them get caught. So I just see here I know a spot in Dorgal, the town north of Ballabry, that's in the back alley. So I'm gonna
see how well you're remembering it.
It's in my teleportation spots.
Okay, that gives you a bonus.
Yeah, 42.
Okay, so yeah, it's a little iffy, but yeah, it's better than nothing, right?
Okay, so I'm gonna start rounding up. I'll take the child who just screamed and their family.
So you just take as many kids as you can and one adult. You basically have all the kids and one adult, so at least the kids will be okay. All the kids have a silver,
Okay. First, all the kids, ask them, are you all, well, I don't know just how I ask them if they're willing to teleport, but like, are you willing to trust me? I say.
Are you willing to leave this place?
Yeah. I'll take that kid with me too.
They nod, petrified. Are you going to prepare, or are you just going to go?
I'm going to prepare.
Okay.
I don't want to mess this up.
A full minute.
Okay.
Passes. A few rounds in, Fraudrum appears. Roll for me.
34.
Injured. obviously, falls to one knee, has two adult humans and an elf with her.
Mm.
She is wielding wrong set of stuff. What does she use? I don't think so. Would you roll for me?
99.
That is not helpful because I rolled a 98, and those are pretty rare weapons. Roll again for me.
40.
There you go. God bless a dwarf with a warhammer.
Took out her blowgun. Like, what?
Yes, exactly. It's that kind of. So I rolled a cat of nine tails. You rolled a lamb. A nice lamb.
Back, you Philistine.
You naughty kitties.
Dead.
Let me hop over here and add that note to her. Can't wait to roll their weapons up. How fun is that going to be? I should hop over to. I should put the chat up so that. There we go. Okay. All right, roll for me.
42.
That's your constant.
42 I've rolled.
I know. It's a Douglas Adams day. Rolled it wrecks your concentration.
Yeah. 56.
You guys run over to her.
Mm-hmm.
How did Doshrik do? Doshrik's more in control of himself. He checks your progress toward them and says, instruct these newcomers.
Okay.
And shoves you toward them. He runs to Fraudrum. Fraudrum has tears running down her face. She's like, there are a few left in a small stone building. They're the ones firing the arrows. I couldn't reach them. I've slain 3. There are more coming.
Okay. You instruct the elf and the 2 humans. One of the humans, an older male, is nonsense. It says nonsense. This can't be happening. It's ridiculous. He runs. He goes, my friends, and he tries to tear free from you and run out of the. Well, I attempt to restrain him if I can. And then, just try to tell him they're in Oxyr's hands now.
Yeah, I mean, talk about the red trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're so much stronger than he. I mean, you almost pick him up off his feet. He starts shouting.
I'll cast calm on him.
You want to cast it from the bracer?
Yeah, because that would do it automatically, right?
It's an 01 to fumble. That's it.
Let's do that, just in case.
All right, roll it up.
Boom. That's a 5. I'm glad I did that. Holy shit.
Wow.
If I cast it normally, that would not have been good.
He stops resisting, but he's like, we have to go help them. Come, join me. We have to help them. And be sort of weirdly calm, but still insistent.
Yeah. I try to persuade him again. You got out of there for a reason. They helped you, live
All
another
right.
day.
Roll it up.
Oh, it's a 3. Wow.
I'm afraid I must go. I'm sorry this has come between us.
God damn it.
Um,
I should have put sleep on there instead. All right, well, I'll have to tie him up.
Dostrick is helping Fraldrum get to his feet. Dostrick comes up from behind and puts a sword through him.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
The body drops.
Dostrick. What are you doing?
Dostrick is shaking, looking down at the body. Can't even look at you in the face, grabs you and shoves you toward the assembled children.
Oh my God.
Fraldrum's face is shocked. He cleans off his blade against his robe and comes to Fraldrum and says, "We can do nothing for those in the stone home. We have to go. We have to go now."
Okay.
Fraldrum is like, "There could be others in that home." Dostrick says, "We are out of time." Turns to the assembled and says, "We are out of time." Turns to Fraldrum and says, "You have to open a portal if you have the strength." Begins looking over Fraldrum as Fraldrum considers the request. Passes a potion to Fraldrum. Fraldrum drinks it, throws the vial to the ground. Clearly is strengthened by the potion, probably healing. "My friends," she says, and she gestures everyone forward. And she sort of staggers forward. She's like, "I must open us a doorway. We must get away from this terrible place." You think to mention, Dostrick's handed them all silver.
Mm-hmm.
We can go anywhere where there's lodging. Fraldrum nods approvingly. Dostrick is up watching the skies. You're sort of helping people get assembled.
Mm-hmm.
And opening a portal is not what you want to be doing when you're this tired. She sort of raises her hands and stops. She goes, "A doorway will appear. You must remain calm. You must remain beside us." And she begins murmuring and concentrating. She takes the full minute. You turn your attention to the skies. I mean, you were just scouring for any thought of intrusion upon your little haven.
Mm-hmm.
An agonizing minute goes by. There are more shrieks from inside the town. Wow, Fraldrum has got some steel concentration going on here.
That's why she's a chief magician, that's for sure.
It is a little golden orb appears, hovering in the air at about Fraldrum's eye level. It then spirals open to a gold-rimmed archway.
Wow.
There is the city of Convergence. You appear to be in a vineyard that overlooks the city. The city is some miles off. Karandrin strides through. The people are quite amazed.
I'll take up the rear and start ushering people through. Go.
Yeah.
There's no time. You could admire it from the other side.
Doshrik turns. He's also watching. Roll for me.
29.
Trees obscure your view of over the town. Doshrik's apparently does not. In a sort of whispered shout, Doshrik says, "Master, they have detected the portal." It occurs to you this would be an excellent time for what is your wall that stuns undead?
Wall of light.
Yeah.
Put it like in front of the portal.
Yeah, or just in front or right in front, because you can basically exempt everyone you see from the effects of the portal.
That is a good idea. I can
You
do
probably want to cast it at as high as the level as you dare.
Wall of light level 5. Okay, what is my PowerPoints right now? I'll cast it at level 10.
I assume you're just going to cast straight.
Yeah, there's no time if they've already detected it.
because they'll be here and
I'll make sure to stand away from anybody, though, in case they do fumble it. I don't want to create an explosion. 34. Okay.
10 exhaustion, 10 power. Light appears over the entrance. You shout to them, "It's safe, it's safe." Your exhaustion.
I'm at 46.
Okay. You guys run for it. A Philistine breaches the boundary of the illusion. Can see everything now just as you guys can. It also means that the illusion is very unlikely to work on him or her again once she exits.
How many people are in the clearing right now or in the thicket?
Almost all of them are through.
Okay.
The children are being, the children are holding things up. They're hesitant to make that step. The adults scream, and one of them tramples the children, diving into the thing.
No.
Unbelievably, you beat everyone to the initiative. Because your initiative is not great. You're not fast on the take there.
On the draw.
What do you want to do?
I want to engage the Philistine. So I will. How far away is he from me?
You can meet him at a run.
I'll try to run up and just distract him. Swing at him with my spear or with my bola.
You can just throw. You can just throw.
Right, but then also get up close to him. Make
sure. So run and throw.
Yes.
All right, man. Roll it.
86. Very nice.
Nice. Sorry, I should have had this marked faster. Oh, boom, there I landed on it. Roll your critical.
59.
Oh, and he's going to crash to the ground.
Yep, because it's burdening.
I assume you cast it from the thing, so your bracers are now empty.
Yes, and
So,
I had a chance to restore them. So,
and then down he goes, probably at the height of about 15 feet. You want to roll that attack for me while I look it up?
okay. 21.
Not a big deal for him, but definitely enough to cause him pause. And down he goes is the important part.
Right.
Hits the ground. Boa is wrapped around its waist.
Nice.
Do you want to stop your charge and return, or do you want to try to finish him off?
Finish him off. I don't want him to call out and alert his friends.
All right. Everyone is through. Doshrik is at the opening. Frowdrum is giving instructions on the other side, but looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
Next round, roll initiative.
Okay. 20.
Doshrik gets initiative. Damn it. Another Philistine breaches the frickin'.
Okay. I think we have to go then.
Okay.
Oh man, I have to leave my bola behind because it's wrapped around him. Unless I can kill him fast enough.
He's got to try to. Man, I don't know what he can do. Damn it. This is rough.
This is tense. Oh my gosh.
I don't know what type he is. It's a mistake on my part. A massive wall of thorns rises up between, in front of the flying Philistine. Doshrik yells at you to run. That Philistine slams fully into the wall of thorns.
Mm-hmm.
It's an enormous wall of thorns. It can probably be seen. It's probably 20 feet by 20 feet.
Oh my god.
So it tops the thicket pretty easily.
Right.
A spectral hand comes through the thicket, grasping at the vines, and then vanishes in a puff.
Wow. Damn.
It took so many criticals from that, and they were all 80s.
Wow.
I'm going to assume that it's dead.
Again.
Yeah. I assume that you're going to want to change your action from attacking to turning.
I got it. Damn it! There's no way I can get my bola right. It's just tangled up in him.
It's tangled up in him, and I don't think you want to.
Damn.
I don't think you want to put your hands in.
No, absolutely not. But that's such a good item. Okay, I'm out of there then.
Roll to change direction. Let's see if because your blow may land before you can process.
Well, I don't even have a weapon in my hands. I need to pull out.
You would probably hit him with your shield.
Okay, sure. 77.
Would you roll?
77.
Okay. You check yourself. Turn and run.
Mm-hmm.
You make it through. and Frowdrum seals the portal behind you.
Whew.
Everyone is seated except for that one human who ran over the children. That child is hurt. The hand is pretty clearly broken. You can just tell from 10 feet away, the fingers are just smashed from where it was stomped. Get back to you. Gee whiz. The Doshrik is gathering his wits. Frowdrum is moving people away from the portal. Many of whom have collapsed, sobbing on like all fours and are just crying.
I'll go over to the kid with the broken hand, and I have some Gersamel.
Frowdrum stops you, checks your hand out your pouch,
Okay.
and says, "You've got to get them moving. There's a manor house at the foot of the hill. There's a friend of mine." And then she just literally shoves you in the direction, runs to Doshrik, who is just trying to, process and catch his breath. And Frowdrum goes to him and grabs him and says, "Apprentice, get your wits about you. They may be able to unseal the portal."
Oh my God. Okay. Wow. That's news. I thought portals, you could just cancel them, but I guess she had to. Okay.
Doshrik throws Frowdrum's hands off of him and says, "This is not the life of an apprentice. This is not." And
Oh my God.
Frowdrum grabs him again and says, "This is what it means to have power." And turns him violently to where the portal is, and was, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
You begin directing people.
Yeah.
Frowdrum, is aglow with power and is heaving and, sort of favoring aside. She has that crazy wand that she has. Where is that?
Yeah. I think she uses a rod.
Maybe it is a rod.
I mean, she might have both for all I know.
That's Doshrik. That's why I can't
One of
tell.
those wizards.
Oh, click on the wrong place. Yeah, a rod of twisted black metal with small gems set along the length. You're about 15 feet away, directing people, getting people on their feet. Frowdrum shouts at you, "Brise, can you spare another wall?"
A wall of light? On the other side of the portal, I'm assuming.
Basically, you would probably want it in front of them.
Yeah. I'll turn around and do that. I'll concentrate for half a minute.
So that's a -2 for your fumble. So roll.
We're casting.
What level?
10.
Okay.
36.
Okay. 10 and 10. It appears. You have spotted the chimney smoke of a residence. You're just directing people there. You're telling them to stay together. You've lost one already who is just, you can see where he's torn through the vines running. That person's just on their own. You can't.
Yeah.
They're as safe as that person's going to be, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to turn and join Your friends at the old portal.
So you said I could see the chimney smoke and actually see like the manor itself, or
No, the vines are too tall here.
okay, I'll keep with them. I'm afraid of what is in this wilderness that could.
Well, it's not a wilderness. You're in the farmland, and there's still some things, of course.
Right. Things on the road that might.
But
prey on.
I mean, you would expect them by the time before they even reach this chimney smoke, they'll encounter workers.
Okay, if Brise thinks it's fine.
Yeah, I think you feel like this is this is an active farm.
Yeah.
And fortunately the vines act as hedgerows,
Right.
so it kind of screens them from being seen easily. I mean, you can sort of see their feet, I guess, passing where the vines aren't. But
I don't know what to tell. I asked Fraldrum, should I tell them anything? Should I have them tell your friend anything? They're headed that way now.
He says, she calls back, use my name.
Okay.
Ask for transport to the city. Just have them ask for transport to the city.
Oh, and I will relay that message to
everyone. They nod as they seem to understand, but you don't know what state of shock they're in.
Right.
And some stagger, some run, some completely abandon their duty to the children. But there's at least 2 adults with a group of children. You realize that none of them are carrying weapons or shields, which means that whole bag of weapons and shields is also left behind.
Yes. We just equipped the Philistine with
exactly. Well, now they're going to have an army. An armory, at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now are you going to return to them?
Yeah.
Okay. Fraldrum is eyes closed, concentrating. She says they are tracing the portal.
Mm.
Turns to Doshrik and says, do you know any portal arts? Doshrik shakes his head. Fraldrum says, I'm going to attempt to conceal the portal from them. They won't be able to trace it here. If they reopen it, it will open somewhere else.
Interesting.
I may be too tired to accomplish this. I may pass out.
I say, shouldn't we then rest and watch and stand guard instead for any that might come through? If you pass out and then one of them reopens the portal, it will just be me and Doshrik.
Neither of you would be able to, no, the 3 of us would not be able to stand against 24 Philistine.
That's fair. I guess this is the best bet.
Your wall certainly will help. Certainly give them pause. All right, she's going to try to cast it. She tells you both, as if you see the portal begin to reopen, you have 2 choices. You can attempt to hurl magic against the boundary of the portal before it's fully opened and attempt to disrupt it, or simply begin hurling attacks through the opening, no matter how small. If you collapse it, the portal will be damaged for a while. There will be no way to open the portal here for many hours. decide while I concentrate. And she begins murmuring, and you can tell she's doing exactly what you do. She's just reciting a spell over and over again, just getting it perfectly right.
Right. No, I mean, I tell Doshrik I don't want to face, like Fraldrum said, I don't want to face 24 of these things. I think we should disrupt the portal to buy us time.
He agrees. I need to write down what he's using. He also uses a rod. Let's go make that note. Roll for me.
5.
It's a rod of plain white wood. Completely unadorned, very unassuming. I mean, you would think it's a table leg if you walk by it in a dungeon. I hate that word. If you walked about it in a set of ruins. Doshrik tells you that you need to focus whatever spell you're going to cast on the rim. Think of it as a target.
Yeah. I mean, I would just cast channeling at it, probably.
And he says, higher power is more important than multiple small spells.
Okay.
So what are you going to prepare?
I'm getting ready to cast 20 points worth of channeling magic at it.
Nice.
Which is going to leave me pretty winded, but if it works, then it works.
All right. Fraldrum is ready and casts. Staggers a bit. Clutches onto Doshrik for support. Closes her eyes. It's like she's listening to sounds in a dark room.
Mm-hmm.
She says it worked. They have lost what trace of the portal there is.
Whew.
You three just kind of collapse in a heap. A few moments later, elven and human vineyard workers, armed with clubs and really cheap target shields, approach. They call out to one another when you're seen. They're over here. They're over here.
Yeah.
One bows very deeply to Fraldrum, lowers his head lower than a dwarf sitting, very deeply, and says, "My lady Fraldrum, can you walk or shall we bring wagon?" And Fraldrum says, "A wagon sounds delightful." The man nods immediately, rises, and calls out for a wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Tells them to fetch a healer and to prepare wine and food.
Wine especially.
Blackout drunk is what it's time for after a day like today. I think it's a great stopping point for a break. What do you think?
I think so too, yeah. I love that I got to finally, it's a cliched expression. Fraldrum uses the last of her power to hide the portal. Literally was the last of her power. Like,
Yeah, it's probably the last of her exhaustion.
yeah.
Because looking at these new exhaustion, well, not new exhaustion rules, this is the first time I've been able to fully implement or seen someone push the exhaustion fully.
Yeah.
In your play, and then like we've had other instances of it with NPCs doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting because we've seen even from your numbers and your growth as a character from level 1 to level, are you 13 or for 13? We've seen that your PowerPoint growth can easily exceed your
Oh, yeah.
exhaustion,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool. I really kind of like that because you are going to be able to rest and regain the exhaustion.
Right.
But it does mean that in any one battle, and this was my solution to the fantasy problem of sorcerers being too powerful, at high levels. Because if you cast a 50th level spell, that's 50 exhaustion. If you do it really well, it's 50 exhaustion, which means your next spell is at a penalty. And your next spell is at a penalty. And so it's sort of all or nothing whereas the warrior,
Right.
they lose a power point, an exhaustion point, or an exhaustion point every attack.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get 50 attacks,
Mm-hmm.
and the mage gets 1. And so I kind of like that.
The odds do seem against the mage, but 50th level spells are powerful, right?
Oh yes, some of the Rollmaster ones, they basically say, okay, now that you cast this 50th, basically you get every spell. You can cast one of the lower spells on this list for free every turn.
Right.
And so now he's doing 30th level, 30th level, 30th level, 30th level. So
Crazy.
well, guys, we're gonna stretch our legs and refresh our drinks, or stretch our drinks and refresh our legs, depending on how you look at it. Thanks for watching thus far. We're going to be back in just a minute and see what the aftermath is of all of this crazy rescue mission, and we'll be back after just a minute. So thanks for watching. Just a second. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We'll get Max back on here.
Dude, you jump scared me. I wasn't ready.
Sorry,
I mean, I was. I was going to text you. I was ready.
No. I think I left my phone in the other room. I think is what happened. I think either that or I've sold it to someone.
Now there's peanut in my hair. Are you kidding me? What?
It looks attractive. This is why people tune in. This is why the number of people turn in that we have.
This is why you don't eat shelled peanuts anymore. You don't.
That's right.
They just go everywhere, including your hair. So.
You know, the sort of more curious thoughts that I've heard from a children's show was talking about. I forget what the show was called. It ran for a while. Anyway, it was the host said, "I'm going to show you something that no human has ever seen, and that no human will ever see again." And the host took out unshelled peanut and shelled it and said, "No one's ever seen these two nuts before." And then popped them in her mouth and ate them and said, "And no one will ever again." It is kind of weirdly philosophical, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's you're like, oh,
yeah. It's like a taking something every day and just making it like, questioning your actual like perception of it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't know, really interesting.
It's fun.
So as you ride the, I should say the wagon comes, you guys are all helped into it.
Okay.
There's wine and water offered to you from wineskins and water skins. Yes. You guys drink and you splash water on your face and so on. In the meantime, Dashik, of course, is has pulled his cowl even lower. And a conversation occurs between one of the attendants in the back of the wagon with you guys and Frautrum, in which this human helper says, "My lady Kieran will ask if we are in any danger. You seem quite harried, as do the poor wretches that you brought with you." Frautrum says, No, we are safe. These wretches, they are being treated well, yes. He says, once they gave your name, yes, we knew that they were our guests. Some had eaten some grapes off the vine, but obviously they have a long story to tell. I'm sure the offense will be forgiven. You soon draw up to a fairly nice manor. There are roads cutting through the various vineyards. No doubt it's going to be, barrel houses, press houses, things like this, all in service to the vineyard.
Ever been to a vineyard?
I haven't.
They're nice. They're just like, they're kind of as you imagine them, just like very like picturesque, very like lots of open field.
Right. I mean, it's like
farm,
it's like a lot of the agricultural places, it's like, oh, well, here's an area for crop. Here's an area, dissected by areas for vehicles, and then here are the attendant buildings, right? I mean, it's funny. Raising cows is no different, which is my background. Though not much of a background. I wanted as little to do with it as I could possibly get away with as a teenager, and I did a pretty good job because I learned nothing. But they pull up to the house. There are some of these poor wretches that you rescued are being tended to outside, just kind of being washed and calmed and so on. Some of the children seem very reluctant to enter this huge home and are calling for their parents. And there are serving women with them, trying to hush them, offering them, little bits of bread and saying, we'll figure it all out and this sort of thing.
Drink this wine, we'll be fine. Just calm down.
Well, that's certainly how they do it back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prior to the invention of Benadryl, the number one way to shut up a child was wine. So there's a great, what is it called? Raising Hope, which is a short-lived little family comedy, which I recommend. So great because it's this 3 generations of idiots living together, uneducated morons, and our main character basically impregnates a serial killer. Long story, and after her execution, he's given the baby, and it's very sweet. I mean, it's his real dedication to the baby and all that is very sweet,
wow. Genuine.
But, yeah, and so the whole show is just really funny. Cloris Leachman is one of Cloris Leachman's last roles, and she is just fucking stellar in it as just the dementia-addled grandmother. Oh my god! And they, but so now there's a baby in the house that's crying or whatever, and the dad of our main character, comes out. He can't sleep. The baby's crying, and he goes, "Make it stop."
Oh my goodness!
That's so great.
That baby ain't safe in that home.
No, he's not. But man, he was that actor is, I forget his name. Boy, if Now Kurtz were on right now, he would look it up for us right now. I mean, Quinn, if he was on right now, he would look it up for us in a flash. He would know it probably by memory. But he was one of the Terminators. He was one of the evil Terminators. Wow. So he has quite a range of doing this kind of wide-eyed. He has a wide-eyed look to him anyway, and so his menacing look is just very effective.
Right.
He's such a comedic talent. He's so great in this in Raising Hope. You guys are ushered in to a sitting room that's right off from the little courtyard where the wretches are being tended to. Everyone sort of looks at you guys in wonder and reverence. Again, Goshrick is keeping his bird face very well hidden. Yeah, exactly.
Waving at everybody.
It's nice to be around this level of wealth again and comfort. And it does kind of, it reminds you, why do I stay in lower end inns when I can, at least have this taste of luxury again? I should, it's kind of thing you may start going to higher end inns.
Right. If I have a choice. Yeah.
Right. Everything is nicely finished. Everything is just so. You're seated at a table. Lady Kieran bustles in. Interesting. Didn't expect that. Didn't expect her to be super.
An 8-foot dwarf. Okay.
Another one is really what you mean.
8 foot is the circumference, not the height.
She is what we would probably say Mediterranean complected, sort of olive skinned.
Yeah.
She's a different looking human than you're used to. Blue eyes, medium brown hair, and a bun. Let's see. Her clothes are immaculate, but not as high quality as you would expect. She is alarmingly slender. but she is immaculately put together and attractive.
Mhm.
She she takes you all in at a glance, and her face is riddled with worry. Interesting. Looking at her skills and so on. Her goals are right there. She takes you all in, and then she doesn't say a word. She goes to the doorway that leads to the courtyard, and says, get them bathed in the house as quickly as possible. And she seems sort of embarrassed that they're there.
Yeah.
Oh, let's give you an intuition roll. We got to do that. Get your feel on a person.
How do I feel about the lady curate? 67.
So probably seems a little too bothered by appearances, and that annoys you given what you've just been through.
Yeah.
But not unkind.
Right.
She turns in immediately and pulls up a chair beside Fraldrum, who has said nothing and is just trying to rest, her eyes closed. And she touches Fraldrum's leg and says, Mistress Fraldrum, what have you brought to my doorstep? Are you all right? You seem pained. And Fraldrum says, we were chased by a great evil. Your hospitality is most welcome. These poor souls were pulled from the very jaws of death. They have a little money. If you could give them perhaps a night's stay and this transport to the city tomorrow. Their coin should get them back on their feet. She looks nervously back out the courtyard door. She says a healer is coming. We'll be here in minutes. She leans in quietly. Roll to try to hear.
67.
Yeah, I think that's good enough. You catch most of it. Something about mentioning wraiths. How do I know these people don't carry curses with them? Fraldrum reassures her, not attempting to be quiet, and says, the curse they carry is what they've lost, Kieran. And as for affecting your reputation, I doubt they'll be excited to repeat anything that they've just gone through. She grasps Kieran's hands and says, as I've told you before, trust your heart. It's better than you know. These people will be out of your hair in a mere 24 hours if you'll grant them stay. Servants' quarters anywhere. Just give them a night's rest before they have to be shuffled on. And so Kieran is kind of, clearly ashamed, but also kind of heartened by Fraldrum's words. She says, of course. Your companions, and gestures to you two. We shall draw baths for them immediately, and turns and snaps, and a lady bows and runs off.
Excellent.
Bath. Kieran sort of tries to peer under Doshrick's cowl, and you are, and
he is tired.
That's right.
What I say, trying to keep her attention away.
And she looks at you and says, of course.
But then I say, thank you for your hospitality. It goes very much appreciated.
My, you speak quite civilly, even dressed as a man.
A little annoyed by that, but I don't think whatever I wear affects whatever I would say, however I speak.
Speak in a deep voice. I am a man.
I am. How did you guess?
Exactly. Post-op even. Deal with that.
There's a tome for all that. Transmutation.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Recovery of resist dysphoria. That's what it is.
Resist dysphoria.
Improve identity happiness. Why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
She said, well, rooms are being prepared. They'll be ready in just minutes. What time of day do we think it is?
Oh, that's a great question.
I think it's probably not even yet lunch, right?
When did we teleport to the...
That was morning. I think it was mid-morning when you reached the second of the.
Well, no, I thought it was because I teleported from Convergence to Balabry and then walked to the keep. I think it's a little later.
Oh, you're right. I've forgotten that part of it.
Yeah, I actually did all my shopping today earlier too. It's been a couple sessions for this.
Right.
I want to say it's mid-afternoon.
Okay.
Maybe early afternoon.
So they'll probably prepare an early supper for everyone.
Yeah.
Yours will probably be, just knowing the rules here. It'll probably be, you guys will dine separately with her. The wretches will be fed at a separate table, or maybe even outside.
From dog bowls, it's fine.
Yeah. It's, as the American poor are used to. And so eventually you're led up to your rooms, unless there's something pointed you want to accomplish socially here.
I would like to know just how Fraldrum knows Lady Kieran, if she seems free at some point, just to make conversation with her.
You want to ask Fraldrum this?
Either, right? Whoever's available. I'll ask them both and corroborate their story.
Yes. Ask them separately, separate them. You have
on the evening of the 23rd.
You have your new truth-telling familiar. It's a parrot, called polygraph, and you hook them up. You hook, yeah, lying whore. That would be so funny. We are going to write a whole fantasy novel, you and I.
God, comedy fantasy about the parrot that can detect the truth.
So you just throw it out, how did you two get together? How is it that you know each other? Have such a strong friendship, right? In case you're prying, you praise the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But Frowdrum, you've learned, will just blab about any sort of personal matter. She's not really concerned with how she's perceived, and hence her slovenly clothes and upkeep. This is real. How long? Frowdrum says that 2 years ago, she was visiting Convergence and overheard Lady Kieran asking at a temple for assistance with her father's nightmares. The description of the nightmares seemed familiar to me. And Kieran gets really uncomfortable. And she sort of squeezes Frowdrum's hand. And Frowdrum stops herself and says,
"Okay.
In any case, I was able to help."
Help him with his nightmares.
I made them stop.
Exactly.
So the
I made his life a nightmare instead.
Exactly. So so she has taken an interest in some of my tales of my youth, and we became good friends. I visit her occasionally when I might need social advice. My friend Kieran here is quite knowledgeable about the politics of the four realms, of the four lands, and has advised me numerous times on the goings-on in both the Goblin States and Avalar.
Right.
Kieran, kind of blushes, and she's like, "Well, I do like to stay in the know."
I do like to hear what comes down the grapevine.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Oh no.
That's why I started a vineyard.
Exactly. My vineyards stretch all the way to each capital.
Just one long trellis, like all the...
Exactly.
That's fun.
Yeah, I need to remember having grapevine in our bedroom, because I'm just feeling it's the first webcam. It's the
grapevine.
That's terrible.
Eat the grape, and you can hear what they're saying.
That would be really funny. I do have, I think it's
a magical idea.
The Mug of Indiscretion. And so what you do is you just leave the mug on a table and walk away from it.
Right.
You've attuned to it. And basically it's a listening point.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And that's all it does. But I'm like, that's such a cool idea. It's such an elegant way to use a magic item. And it's limited in power in a sense because you can't use it in all situations,
Right.
Um,
You would just like you leave it out for a while, then you come back and like, okay, what did I get? And you hear, yeah, the villain's name was. Like, damn it.
Oh God.
Why didn't I go with the quill instead?
I gotta turn the mug upside down so they don't put beverage in it. Damn it. Why?
That's cool though.
That's really funny. It cracks me. Why is he such a loud drinker? But Kieran says, that's enough about me. You'll be shown to your rooms. And again, she snaps her fingers. I mean, she's very imperious when it comes to.
Yeah.
And so up you go. The house is very well appointed, very tastefully done. It really is a beautiful home of wealth. Her tastes clearly tend toward tapestry. So there's lots of rich tapestries, mostly nature scenes. There doesn't seem to be a lot of religious. Before I say that, I should probably look at. I forget that that's part of what's rolled. Their piety.
Piety. Well, they might also be pious, but not want to have pious symbols.
Right.
True as well.
And so they, so mostly just natural scenes. And so you're led upstairs. They are suites, not as spacious as you would expect, but still very well appointed. You're told that dinner will be soon. There's a bath already drawn for you there at the foot of your bed. There are robes and gowns, as in heavy robes for the bath. There are dressing women ready to help you undress and redress. Your clothes will be washed and should be ready in the morning. There's an evening gown set out for you. Wow. If you see Lady Meagral in something like this, you wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, wow.
It is really nice. The fabric is luxurious. The styling, the cut of it is luxurious. She clearly has an eye, or at least the dressing women have an eye for your size and everything. You're like, my God, they are just. But yeah, this was a 160 in terms of level of quality. That's before any bonuses for wealth or anything.
Right.
So we're probably topping 200 here.
I'll just take this guy.
Exactly. It's like stealing a robe from a hotel room.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
A woman, obviously stands outside in the sitting room part of your suite, and she just, keeps her back to you. And if you need anything, then, but it does feel great.
I'm just going to relax and process,
Oh, I guess I need to erase your bola, and so do you.
Yes, it's already gone.
Man. Bugger.
That was really nice. That's the only thing about projectiles, like really good projectiles, you don't always get them back.
Yeah. Yeah. You just, yeah, you just have to risk it just to, um,
outside.
bam, yeah. Crashed him down to the ground. That gave him another critical as well. Man, if you had rolled like 10 higher, you would probably killed that Philistine. Not that it matters, because this game is intelligent enough to give experience for actions, not success.
Experience that matters.
So, oh, this might be roll for me.
56.
So, might be good, you think, to raise the question of Lord Hestus.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, if she's familiar with everything in the on the border of these realms, I'll bring it up at dinner.
Processing this and watching, you're out in this big, nice bath, and you think about the wretches being, sort of bathed before they're even allowed in.
Yeah.
And it does sort of bring to mind like those other times of great suffering that you've observed in people.
Yeah.
The poor picking the fruit off the orchard.
Yeah.
Wow, probably very near here. I didn't even think about that.
It's true. Yeah, that was on like the road north of Convergence.
And you are north of Convergence. Wow. So, but the real plight of suffering among the poor, is sort of keenly brought to your attention again.
Right.
And how quickly it is that, if Lady Kieran thrown out wearing this dress, right, that and probably the things she wears on her could probably keep her at an inn for a year and still give her money to operate on. And then, it's really, whereas these people have nothing now, except for the silver that Dosheric gave them. So the bath is lovely. You rise and you're you're asked if you need any assistance. You're used to being assisted, so they come in and help you dry off and so on. They help you on with a shift and then help you on with the dress. The dress is just exquisite. And ironically, if you had found it in a store, you would have a chance of buying it.
Right.
Because here, you don't just conduct base commerce with.
Yeah.
Right.
It's rude.
So what you do instead is you play the compliment game.
Right.
And just talk about how much you admire the dress and see if she offers it as a gift.
Yes. Or at least the tailor who made it commission.
Right.
I guess tailors don't make dresses, don't they? That would be.
It's the same for our purposes. Yes, I mean we're using these terms very loosely. Right? I mean,
I never thought about like a seamster would make clothes and then a tailor would tailor them. I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's all the same.
Skills.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not as though you're buying clothes, with some exception in our game for like magic items and some general store stuff where like, hey, here's a pile of shirts, which probably is not really realistic either. But just for the simple simplicity, that's how we conduct it, sort of as a nod to our you being used to modern commerce. If you want a shirt, your parents would make it for you. You would make it for you. or you'd hire someone to make it for you, but they wouldn't be ready to wear stuff made.
Right.
That's just labor wasted as far as they're concerned, because someone may or may not buy it. I think you would probably have some cloaks made because it's outdoor weather, and you would probably some sales of just, I need that right now because it's, but we sort of play a fuzzy kind of romanticized version of all this anyway. But
it's hard to really know, because all that stuff also wasn't, documented. How well can we look back at that?
Well, I mean, there are lists. There are lists of income of like every profession, like from London and France, for instance, Paris and London, I should say. And you can find lists like from the 1100s and things like that. So you can get
even in the city, right? It might be different in the country, right?
Well, yes, the country you're going to make it.
Right.
The country you're, unless you're wealthy, in which case you would take trips to the city once or twice a year. Whatever, or if there's a fashionable event that you want to be seen in, you would go in and commission and have measurements taken and this sort of thing, or they would come out to see you, I imagine. There was this ancient document I came across on the online, one of these documents that had been scanned in and everything. It was talking about levels of opulence, and it was for royalty. And this is pre-Christ. This is ancient Egypt, the ancient world. And these even small kingdoms, right, where they've got the toe of Italy. That's their kingdom, right? That's the size of their kingdom. And this one king, he only walked on red silk. That is it. So there were 2 or 3 enormous bolts of red silk carried by teams of servants. And so one would take a ream and, a bolt of it and roll it out, depending on where he was going. If he changed direction, someone would run and make him an intersection. There was another one who only walked on, was a queen who only walked on petals of a certain flower.
Right.
And there are these, servants who have these enormous back baskets just filled with it. And that was their only job, was to follow them around. And again, these are not like, I'm the king of France. No, we're talking, and you're just like, what are you doing? And
you know what? It hasn't gotten much better.
It hasn't gotten better at all. It hasn't gotten better at all.
And now it's, I only take my private jet to go anywhere.
Exactly. You think the sex traffic of the world is going to the poor? No. It's not going to the poor.
It's going to the Democrats.
That apparently, according to reliable sources at
according to most right-wing.
Yes, news sources. Which we say news. What we mean is
QAnon still? I haven't heard about QAnon in a while.
It's still
and I'm hoping to just ignore it, but I know it's going to come up again.
Well, there's this whole team tracking him down. Like there's a team of technical experts tracking this individual down.
An individual in charge of QAnon, or?
Yes. Because QAnon is an individual purportedly.
Okay. I thought it was like a forum with multiple people organizing it. But.
No, 4chan, of course, was the forum originally where we saw QAnon posting and so on.
Yeah.
But so if there is an individual who is QAnon, whoever is using that handle, right? Or whatever group is using that handle, there's a effort to track that individual group down.
I see. Yeah.
Interesting. So.
Good luck. I hope.
No kidding.
Oh my God.
We have politicians who just, blindly cite them, and we have anyway. So there is. You get better information on world events from Karandrin than you do from QAnon. But
I'm here for your news, everybody.
That's right, exactly.
Maybe we do it as a news podcast. We get more views.
So it fits beautifully. You're told that dinner is ready. You go down. Oh man, there's another instance for you. We got it actually smells good to you. It's a great deal of soups and breads and rabbit. Um, Seems to be what's at hand. Doshrik comes down. His feathers seem a little fluffed, but he's still wearing his clothing.
Right.
At least his outer cloak he's
Right.
wearing. His robes he let go of, and so on. And so Fraldrum is comes in last. Is being helped by an older man, still favoring one side. Sits gingerly. Dinner begins. It is just Kieran and you three.
Okay.
Fraldrum says, "I'd hope to see your father. I assume he still lives on the neighboring estate." She's like, "Yes, I didn't know that. I didn't think we'd have time to bring him here. So, for him to get ready and arrive." So the food is exceptional. Particularly, you seem to be drawn to rich soups. Seem to be a weakness of yours now.
Cream of potato.
That's right. Yeah, I just love cream of chicken. I will take these cheap ass pot pies, and then I'll do 2 of them, and then I'll add a half can of cream of chicken to it, and just sort of chop it up in there and nuke it a little bit, and it just makes it so rich. It makes it so much richer. I love it. What can I say?
And that's breakfast.
That's right. So, Fraldrum just asks after the father. The father is doing well. The vines are doing well. Asks sort of in a vague way, sort of, any news to report, she says, the news you get basically is not news to you, and that is there's continued complaints that both the state of the roads and the safety of the roads in the Oven states are just not what they should be. That by all reports, by all other measures, the Oven states seem to be doing well. But it's like the king is asleep at the wheel and not attending to matters.
Right.
And she does say in sort of a conspiratorial way, she's like, there are rumors in Morgrim that maybe he is saving for a massive order of ships. That maybe this is the beginning of a new war of sail. The last one was about 150 years ago. And that will guarantee the Oven States' position as a colonizing power, and that maybe lands could be taken from the troll clans. Some of those settlements that have long been held, seized by the trolls, could be taken and then fortified, or new holdings found and fortified in the southern wilds, and begin bringing riches from the southern wilds into elvish coffers.
Right.
There's also possibility that is to end the pirate threat in the Black Gulf. which is just directly south of Theaxia. Actually lies between Theaxia and the nearest part of the Southern Wilds. And to seize that pirate city, whose name escapes me, can't remember, but
Pirate City seems pretty good to me. That's
and then
welcome to Pirate City.
That's right, and just establish that as a elven stronghold, and then you could have riches pulled into there. That would be vulnerable to Theaxan fleets, but only if there's a real war.
Right. How confident does she seem in these? Like, is she just like repeating what someone else said, or is this something?
Yes, that really. She's like, they're saying this, they're saying that. You know. Doshrik says nothing, avoids the soup, eats voraciously at the rabbit, fumbling with a fork, which is not meant for feathered hands. And, you know, he's got his gloves on, but they're not the best, you know, not for gripping things. They're great. They're fantastic for delicate spells, but not so much anything else.
I'll bring up Lord Hestus if there's a little conversation. Just have you heard anything about Lord Hestus at all? The pen.
I imagine what most people know. Considered just, a good man, even for one of those barbarians.
All right.
Always a threat to the goblins. Always advocates seizing both sides of the river and not just their own. And always has his eyes on the Lake Triumphs. You recall those? The Lake Triumphs?
I don't think you mentioned them.
The Lake Triumphs, we'll say you've heard, is a term for these three large cities that are sort of part of the goblin cities, but they're sort of independent.
Okay.
And they're off this large lake north of the Pen clans, east of Nargaz. Nargaz considers them theirs.
Right.
But they have sort of banded together to form this three-city sort of union.
Yeah.
And so there's two on the north side of this enormous lake and then one on the south. The southern one is more heavily fortified, anticipating attack from both the Pen clans and from Nargaz. So there's been several attempts to seize them over the centuries, but just having that body of water and some good mining has allowed for arable land and not what's desert yet, but what is fairly arid, rugged areas. And so they keep straight up a military presence against the Pen.
Yeah.
The goblins, their fellow goblins, it's more about, you know what, why don't we pretend we're kind of part of you, and here's a tribute.
Right.
Let's say that's the taxes that we've negotiated. And we're going to still do our own thing. And like, not everybody's happy with that. Everybody's like, no, they are goblins. They belong to this nation, you know. And so there have been wars to seize them from both sides, the goblins and the Pen. And they've held out. And part of it is the tension that works in Triumph's favor. If Nargaz goes to really all-out war against the Triumphs, can they afford to do so with the Pen next door?
Right.
And the Pen the same way. And for the Pen, it's a longer march, and so your supply lines are completely vulnerable. And so...
yeah, it's one of those things that you always hear about the term free city, and like in fantasy, it's like, oh yeah, that's what that means. It's like no king can claim them. Yeah. Right. No one has yet put that up. And of course, originally your kingdoms, that's all they were. They were cities, and whatever you would call a mayor, that was a king.
And so they ruled that, I mean, county-sized piece of land,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And of course, Italy and Greece were famously just city-states all
Yeah.
over the place. So, um, um, she does mention facts you've not heard, that he's sort of beset by 3 unwed daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And the question always is, well, you know, there's been a number of suitors, but Hestus has refused them all very diplomatically. And everybody's wondering, what is the long goal there? Because he's prominent, he's wealthy, you know, he's admired. It's called, you know, it's often referred to as the matter of the daughters. And you know, it doesn't work any differently than it did in your family when there's a lot of pressure for you to marry, you know, to make business alliances and to strengthen social status. So she goes on, and she's really knowledgeable, even from that far away, right?
Right.
On the far side of the mountain.
What else she wants to talk to me about?
So, I mean, she rattles off like advisors and things like this.
Okay.
He has a vizier of the interior. Named Quazal, a woman. Quayzall. That cunning, but often drunk, as everyone knows, just into her cups far too much. How she holds the position, people say she's just smart enough to do so.
Wow.
That her drunk half out of her mind is still more mind than most people can handle.
Mm-hmm.
His chief general, of course, rumors always whirl about him. He's tall, wears a wooden face mask, that of a beaked bird, this short, powerful beak. And his name makes no sense. His name is Fetafek. That's not a name either goblin nor dwarven nor pin. Fettafek.
Mm-hmm.
Doshrik chokes on his drink.
Oh. What?
He too will take no suitors, even though that might extend some power to his lord.
Hmm.
But his days, as they say, for every general that fails to capture either the other side of the river or the lake triumphs, may be numbered. Maybe an execution awaits him, as it did for his predecessor 7 years ago.
Right.
But certainly, man who keeps to himself. But they say cunning, very cunning. So she just sort of rattles on about the pleasantries, the sort of more social.
Yeah.
Um, that the youngest of the daughters is sort of the most admired. Um, she's beautiful, charming, witty. Um, she talks about, she's always had a desire to go to one of their dances. Any of the Penn dances, they're supposed to be quite spectacular despite the primitive people. And so she, but father absolutely forbids it. He'll never let me travel that far, especially not just for the pleasure of a dance. He's all work, work, work. And as the vineyards are doing well, I don't see why I can't take a break and leave it in the hands of my servants. Frauder, maybe you could have a word.
Frauder just like sleeping, like,
this is such a long day. Could you just shut up? Here's a thought. Go drown to the Lake Triumph.
Cast silence.
Exactly.
But she doesn't know she's under the spell, so just keep talking. Yeah.
Right, just chattering along. So dinner ends. It was really enjoyable. It was enjoyable to get to be sort of returned to this kind of life, and then as you guys are sort of standing around the table, servants are clearing things. There's a cry from outside.
Uh-oh.
And a servant runs in. My lady, to the north, you must come see. Frau looks at you all very grimly, and raises herself up full height. She's taking deep breaths and just concentrating, and she gestures for you guys to follow. You guys head out, go out to the courtyard. There are numerous servants now pointing in the distance and up to the north. And there is an eerie green glow far to the north. And Doshrik has abandoned all pretense of hiding his face. His face is fully up and exposed. The feathers of his cheeks are out above the cowl. They're looking up.
Yeah.
Doshrik says, "Necromancy, master." And Fraudrum says, "The vetch."
Oh my goodness.
And that's where we'll end.
All right. That was awesome.
Man, I rolled if anything happened, in the evening or whatever, and I rolled a 318.
Oh my God.
And then I rolled positive, negative, neutral, right? I don't roll in that order. I roll, how bad is it? If I roll a 1, that's really good.
Right.
And so that roll was really high.
I was going to say, how much of the sky is?
It's not a lot.
Okay.
It's not a lot.
Right.
But to be seen from this distance, it's not, it's not a very broad, but there it is.
Okay. Wow.
So there we go. That is episode 127 in the books. I hope it's an interesting book thus far. We're going to be streaming again next week. So I hope you'll join us then. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. I certainly did. Exciting and interesting.
I forgot. I need to tell you. Next Wednesday, we might not be next Wednesday.
Okay. All right. So stay tuned, and we'll
On
post
another day.
Yeah, we'll post an update, and I'll try to do a reminder once Max and I reach a decision.
Mhm.
So thanks everyone for watching. We really do appreciate it. If you think we're doing a good job, hop to Donor Box. You see the link there. Send us a little love. Please go look at Max's YouTube channel where he discusses the role of music and original soundtracks and video games. Thanks as always to Elliot Dunovitz for their terrific character art for Brise. We use it almost every session. You can see more of their work at artstation.com/Tortolua. And I've written a novel called A Shore Too Far, and I hope you go and take a look at it as well. Max, say goodbye to the lovely people.
Hope you all enjoyed this session. I had a blast. It was good fun. So, yes, stay tuned for the next announcement when the next episode is, and we will see you then.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.